Hey friends, welcome back. In this tutorial, we will paint a night sky with stars and trees in watercolor style, but all done digitally in Procreate. I will teach you how to draw a perfect circle without having to draw a perfect circle, how to create the illusion of a bright night sky, how to add hundreds of stars in seconds, and how to draw trees fast, how to change the size or shape of one tree to create many different trees. I'll leave links in the description for all the resources used, including the brushes, the watercolor paper canvas, the sketch, and the color palette, and also the tree stems. First, you're gonna open the canvas for watercolor painting, and I have a link in the description for that. And turn off the background just by toggling off the checkbox on the background layer. Then you need to add a new layer, and we'll just use the detail brush from the watercolor pack with white color. Let's just draw a circle. Don't worry about it, just do your best to draw a circle, and just remember, when you're done drawing the circle, do not lift your pencil, and after a couple of seconds you will see a perfectly round shape on your screen. Then you can move the circle to the center of the canvas simply by tapping the arrow sign and moving around with your finger. Okay, we will just fill the circle completely with white color. You just need to drag the color from the color icon to the circle. We will just name this layer mask, but you can do whatever you want. Next, we will start adding watercolor to the circle. First, you want to turn the background back on and create a new layer above the circle layer and enable clipping mask. This way, you'll be able to paint within the shape of the circle. Even though you can be a little careless and go outside, it doesn't matter. Select the blue color and a wet sponge dab brush at 100% size. Color the entire circle, but leave the bottom part lighter. To make the color darker in any section you want, just brush over that area a couple of more times. Okay, it's looking pretty good, but it doesn't look dark enough to look like realistic night sky. So we want the top to look even darker. So let's just choose a darker blue and add that to the upper half of the circle, closer to the upper outline. And then we'll just blend the brush strokes to soften the transition between the two colors, just to create a smoother effect. Now, as promised, it's time to add some bright colors to the sky. The trick is to add bright colors on a new layer and set the new layer as overlay. This blending mode will help enhance the brightness of light colors just to create a glowing effect. So we're gonna pick a blue color and use wet sponge dab brush and just make some strokes on the new layer under the black blue color, and then we will choose a vibrant mint color and add that over the entire light area, just slightly overlapping the black area to create reflections. Okay, now the top is pretty much done. Let's finish the bottom part of the sky. Choose a light gray color and use Add Texture Stamp 1 brush at 100% brush size and draw a thin semicircle over the bottom. Okay, let's choose a saturated pink color and paint from bottom up, lightly blending with the previous layer. We also want to add a few more strokes using the same color from bottom up, but let's switch to wet sponge dab just for that effect. And then repeat this with Add Texture Stamp 1 brush because we want more watercolor textures there. And with this, you can use dark pink, mint, and light gray. And we will focus that in the lighter parts of the sky. Okay, and when you're all done, just blend a little bit with the background layer. Okay, now the background is done, let's move on to the stars. I want you to create a new layer above all other layers and set its mode to luminosity. And choose Splatter 2 brush with a brush size of 15% also, and white color of course. And let's just start by adding stars around the circle's outline. And then increase the brush size to 25% and move towards the center. And eventually increase it again to about 40% and add stars in the very center of the circle. We want to blur some of the stars a little bit, so just tap Adjustments in the top left corner and then tap Gaussian Blur. And move your pencil from left to right on the screen and set the blur level to around 4 to 5%. This will give the stars a slightly fuzzy look just to create a sense of distance. Alright, it's time to add in the trees. So let's add a new layer above all and choose the hard edge brush with the size of about 20%, and we'll use a dark green color for that. And we'll just first roughly sketching a few trees. I'm gonna draw 2 fir trees using the same color and brush, but on a new layer on top in this video, but you can feel free to use my ready-made stamps to save time. I'll fast forward this painting process. When the trees are done, tap Duplicate in the Layer panel. A new layer with the same trees will appear now. Drag the top layer to the right and pinch out with 2 fingers to increase their size. Now we have 4 trees, but they look a bit too similar to each other, so we're going to distort 2 of them. In the newly appeared window at the bottom, click Distort and drag the middle blue dot and just move it around a little bit. This function changes the size, allowing you to adjust the height without changing the width. So it alters the perspective. And when you're done, just merge the tree layers together. And keep duplicating the trees until all the free spaces in the bottom are filled up. Okay, here's a tip. You can draw different varieties of trees in slightly different colors, or use different stamps to make them look more interesting. And if you do use the same tree multiple times, make sure to vary its size and shape a little bit. The distort feature that I shared earlier is great for changing height without altering the width. Okay, when you have all the trees, merge all the tree layers and delete the previous sketch. Okay, now we have all the trees. We want to add a little bit of shadow to only the trees, not on the background or anything else. So you need to click on the trees layer and turn on Alpha Lock. This will lock the entire space except for the shapes painted on this layer, and it will allow you to draw without going beyond the shape's boundaries. We will use a dark blue color and wet sponge dab brush. Just apply a few dark spots on the trees to create shadows. Okay, well, it's not so realistic to have only one row of trees. So what we're gonna do is super quick. Just duplicate all the tree layers and turn off Alpha Lock. Resize and rearrange them so that it seems that there are at least 2 rows of trees. They look a little awkward right now because they're stacked on each other, so we will just quickly soften the lower part of the trees to avoid the harsh lines. We will do that with the wet sponge dab brush. And now we want the trees behind to look blurry and look like they're from a distance. So we'll select the tree layer behind and tap Adjustments, and then tap Gaussian Blur and drag from left to right and stop at about 5%. I hope this video has helped you to create that beautiful look. And don't forget, you can find links to all resources used for creating this piece in the description. By the way, I publish a new video every 1 or 2 weeks, so consider subscribing to not miss new tutorials. Other than watercolor, we also have videos about painting with other brushes such as oil, acrylic, gouache, alcohol ink, and etc. etc. See you next time!